slam for Trevino.
So that one's going to Mars.
Grand theft suspect in pursuit.
Running attack. Third to throw in time. A strong throw by Aguilar. That one is lined into center field, and diving and making the play is Bader. Did he get enough? See ya!
Is as good a prospect as they've had since Derek Jeter.
How good did that feel?
Monster shot from Andres Chaparro.
NYYPD to dispatch. ETA about 20 seconds.
Welcome back, everybody! Today is March 3rd, 2023. We are 1 week into spring training and 27 days from opening day. The varsity squad is still easing its way into regular action. They got a game going on right now. We'll talk about that in a minute. So far, 3 scoreless innings from Garrett Cole and an error from IKF. Joining me tonight to talk it over from NYY News TV, Mr. Pete Simonetti.
Oh, how you doing? Heat on him. He didn't want to continue. How you doing? How you doing, everybody? How you doing?
How you feeling, Pete?
I am feeling simply ravishing, I must say.
You're in mid-season form, I must say. And also, joining us tonight, Frankie Baseball. He's on the questions. He'll monitor your comments and get the questions up. Frankie.
How are you, Pete? Derek, it is good to see you guys again.
Who?
Frankie Baseball.
I'm Frankie. Yeah.
Oh, you're on the show. I didn't even know you were on the show. Okay.
Yeah. This is, I did. I'm in your chat all the time, Pete.
You're Frankie Baseball. Holy crap!
Yes,
I had no
Frankie,
idea.
yes.
Oh,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
nice to meet you. By the way.
So
nice to meet you.
I have something to bring up here. It's a little perturbing. We got a Friday night. We got our ace on the mound. And for some reason, the game is not being televised. I just can't fathom why any game involving the number one franchise in the whole universe that we know of, the New York Yankees, isn't being televised. Pete, let me get your thoughts on that.
It's terrible. I mean, it really is. I could have ended it right there, right? It's terrible. That's it. I mean, it's insane. Aaron Judge is arguably the face of Major League Baseball. You already talked about Garrett Cole. Judge is in that game. Cole is on the mound. And they're trying to grow Major League Baseball, but they don't want people to see it. I mean, with the blackouts and all that, but even in spring training, this is a nice little game to have on for your fan base. And it's, again, the failure of Major League Baseball of trying to spread this game out and make it more accessible to people. And you're 100% right. It's something that everybody should be upset about. Now, we said it earlier on one of our Get Yanked show that was on earlier. It's upsetting. It's just it's a bad play for Major League Baseball.
Look, you don't need production trucks for a spring training game. If Yes would send somebody with a cell phone and film it from the press box, one camera, I would watch it. And they could sell commercials and make a ton of money. Makes no sense to me. What are your thoughts, Frankie?
Just idiotic. I cannot, in this day and age, and great job, man, for trying to grow the game, that you can't get every single spring training game, even in 2023, it's ridiculous. And especially for one when our ace is on the mound, it's just ludicrous.
It's horseshit. So,
yes, you put it better than I did.
That'll sum it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Frankie's going to handle the questions that we got for tonight. Frankie, I believe you have received these questions. Fire away.
Yes, I have. So the first question is for Pete. Now, one of the biggest storylines heading into spring training for the Yankees was the shortstop battle. Volpe, Peraza, IKF. So far, who do you think is winning it?
I think it's Peraza. I think Volpe has looked great. Let's be honest here. The guy that might have one of the best chances to actually win it, which I don't think he will, but I still think he's traded. IKF has looked the worst out of all of them. Again, another error. And I made a tweet about this laughing, right? Well, I guess it's also in spring training where he makes errors behind Cole because he just loves to make errors behind Garrett Cole for whatever reason. I know I'm not a big fan of coincidences, but this is just weird at this point. This guy makes errors behind Cole every game, and he does it in spring training too. So,
Yeah.
Anthony Volpe has looked phenomenal, man. He's looked really good. There's a lot of things to like. There is a negative, and I'll be honest, there is a negative. I love aggressive guys. Oh, that sounded very weird, but anyway.
Hey,
No. You had it right. You love aggressive.
If you like aggressive guys, you like aggressive guys, all right? But Anthony
We're not
Volpe,
jamming.
man,
Judgment-free zone.
that's it. He is overly aggressive early on. And my only concern is, look, if I have to pick on something, it's going to be that at the elite level, guys are going to pick up on that. And he's not going to get many first pitch fast. He's going to start seeing more sliders, more curveballs, more changeups early in a count. And it worries me that could be a factor. Maybe that's also one of the reasons why a lot of scouts say he struggles with off speed. We haven't seen enough. It's a small sample size for all of these guys, including Peraza, who we saw last year. Well, IKF we saw enough of. We don't need to see no more. But I think it's Peraza's spot. I think Volpe is doing everything he needs to do to try to win a spot in this club. So between those two guys, it's phenomenal, but I still give Peraza the upper hand.
Yeah. I agree with you. I'd like to see more patience from Volpe. I do love the aggression as well. I think the swing itself looks very compact. It looks very quick. He's very strong. He's got some thump in his bat. You can tell. He's got strong legs. He's got strong forearms. I keep going back to Dustin Pedroia as my main comp and, second baseman. I still think that could be his future, maybe third. As far as shortstop goes, I haven't seen anything that worries me yet. I mean, he looks good. He makes quick decisions. He's got a strong, accurate arm, good footwork around the bag. I mean, there's a lot to like, but I agree with you. I mean, just based on, what needs to happen in terms of developing that patience and just getting a bigger sample size at AAA against some better arms, against some guys who are borderline. I kind of agree with you that Volpe's headed to AAA and that Peraza's probably, a lock for that position. Who you rooting for, Frankie?
I'm rooting for anyone other than IKF, but yeah, in particular, I'd like to see Volpe get the job. But it's probably going to
correct answer. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's probably going to go to Peraza, but Volpe, I think, has been the best player. You can make an argument he's been the best player so far this spring.
He's been exciting. Yeah. All right, what else you got for us, Frankie?
Now, Derek, anyone who has watched your channel knows that you are a big fan of the Martian, Mr. Jasson Dominguez, and he certainly turned some heads this past week with a home run in his debut. Having seen him a few times now, what stands out about him?
So the first thing that stood out is why people compare him to Bo Jackson and Mike Trout, and that's just the build. I mean, the guy, he's got some broad shoulders for a 20-year-old, and he's very, very strong. It makes him, I think, he's just like a solid rock out there. I mean, I don't think he's lost any athleticism from his size. He's just very, he's a freak of nature. I like the way he works the strike zone. We've seen him take a lot of close pitches. We saw him work a walk to lead to the home run. He could have been trying to end it himself. I'm the Martian. Everybody loves me. Let me try and walk one off right here, and I'll be in the New York papers tomorrow. Nope. He was selective, passed the torch to the next guy, and guess what? 2-run home run to win the game. I love that. I love the routes he takes in the outfield. I like how smooth he glides. Bernie Williams used to glide. They say Joe DiMaggio used to glide. I think Dominguez has that kind of same ability where his stride length, even for his size, is pretty long, and he almost jumps and gallops from spot to spot. And look, I might be the only one shouting this at this point, or at the very least, I'm one of the loudest voices saying it. He's not far from the major leagues. He's really not. I think if the right combination of underperformance from the left field position happens, Aaron Hicks or whoever, or the right combination of injuries, then I think that he's right on the brink. He's that good. What happens when he faces high quality major league pitching? I think he's going to struggle for a while, but damn it, I want to believe. What do you think, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's such a small sample size. If I want to nitpick on things, the best thing he does, I agree with you 100% on this. I love his at-bats. He's just finding himself in good counts. He falls behind. He gets back in a hitter's count, and then he looks to unleash on the ball. He's done a very good job of having professional at-bats. I will disagree on one thing. I know one of the negatives of him in the minor leagues was he doesn't take great routes on the ball. I've seen him do it decently, but then there's another time there was that deep fly ball to left center field. And he broke directly like a straight line when in reality, you should be taking a diagonal line towards that ball to get to it faster. And it just went a little bit over his head. So if I want to nitpick, those are things to nitpick on. But here's what you got to remember again. This is a guy who missed a full year of development. He's very, very raw. People forget that. He's extremely raw. He hasn't had a lot of professional ball. The way he looks now, here's all I'll say. If he continues this type of play, and I'm not talking about statistics, I'm just talking about the way he's approaching the game. In AA, it would not shock me to see him up this year. It wouldn't shock me. His at-bats have been phenomenal. If he continues that, I think he has a chance to be up. I really do.
All right, Frankie, what else you got for us?
So this one is for both of you. Now, there are two guys on this roster right now who are out of options and are trying to make the team. Estevan Florial and Devi Garcia. What do you think happens with each of them?
Pete, you want to take this one for, let's start with Florial.
Yeah, Florial, I think he's DFA'd or maybe he eventually gets traded. I tell you what, man, here's a guy that I rooted for so hard. I might have been one of the biggest people last year, I know, saying just give him 3 weeks, give him a month. Hicks has been terrible. Give him the chance. But he doesn't help himself.
Right.
He doesn't do himself no favors, man. I even saw spring training at-bats, and he got that one double or the one hit and a stolen base. And I'm just watching. I'm like, man, you can't make contact enough. You got to be able to put the ball in play. Whether you're choking up, whatever you're doing with your swing, you got good speed. He just doesn't do it enough. And I'll be honest, with guys like Ortega here, Calhoun here now, I think he ends up eventually being DFA'd.
Yeah, I think one of the two guys you just mentioned, we'll get to those guys, Ortega and Calhoun, in just a second. I think one of those guys might have the upper hand just because of experience. And Florial, to be honest with me, he's shown me nothing. The changeup is just some guys just can't hit a changeup, and the league figures that out fast. He's one of those guys, I think. But we did have a voicemail real quick about Willie Calhoun. Let's bring him in.
Yeah, hi, Derek. Eddie again down here. Yeah, my thoughts on Will Calhoun. I know he's not the greatest fielder in the world, but I like him at the plate. He puts the bat on the ball. He's got pop, left-handed, can hit the seats in Yankee. I think he would be a good addition to the team to have. So I just wonder what your thoughts were on that as well. Thank you.
I like him. The fact that he got hit in the face, a lot of guys don't recover from that, and it worries me a little bit. But, he's a left-handed hitter. He's somebody that has the experience. He had, half of a season where he was really good. I'm all for getting him at bats in spring and getting a look at it. What do you think on Calhoun and Ortega? I haven't seen much of Ortega.
Yeah, I like both of them. Look, Willie Calhoun has always been a guy that could hit. He hit, I believe, 21 homers or 20-plus homers in 2019 or 2018, one of those years. But he's a guy that just has never been able to stay on the field. He was a mainstay with Texas for years. They were always expecting he's going to break out. He's going to break out. Yankees had interest in him a couple of years ago, too. So he's a guy that's always been on the radar, and he just has not been able to really put it together and stay on the field. He's not a great defender. Rafael Ortega, on the other hand, impressed me the other day. He homered. He doubled. He got good speed. He is a good left fielder. He's a lefty bat. And I tell you what, man, that's a sneaky pick, man. I know a lot of people said when they got him, it was like one of those sleeper picks.
Yeah.
Look out for him, man. I think if there's legitimate competition, if the Yankees are serious about somebody beating Aaron Hicks in left field, which I don't think they are, to be honest. But if they are, I think look out for Ortega. I think he has a chance to grab that spot potentially.
We need somebody out there. All right, what you got next for us, Frankie?
I would take Jimmy Carter right now in left field over Aaron Hicks, but that's another story. All right, now spring training stats supposedly don't matter. Last year, Kyle Gashioka hit 7 home runs in spring training. He ended up with 10 throughout the regular season. So what type of things should fans watch for from players to predict what kind of season they're going to have?
Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, man, I'll make it very, very simple. Look at the at-bats. Look at the quality of the at-bats. And that's one of the things I talked about Dominguez, and I said why I just want to see him healthy. Healthy one, of course, and just keep doing the thing he's doing. If he continues to have these type of at-bats, these are very professional, very good at-bats. I expect him to go far, especially with prospects. You really want to look at that. With pitchers, I'm always interested in command. Severino with first outing was all over the place. You knew it wasn't going to be good. Command typically comes a little later in spring, but that's the thing you want to look at, in my opinion, to see if somebody's ready to go. And then, movement of pitches, I think, is a good thing. What they're throwing in certain counts. Just the little things behind the numbers is the big thing.
Yeah, I think when I'm watching a hitter, patience is obviously important. I want to see him busted out of the box. I want to see how they are on the bases. Are they going first to third on a base hit? Are they, tagging up on fly balls? And, just doing all the fundamental things, because that's the most important thing. Some of these top prospects, they come up with all the tools that you need, Clint Frazier, for instance, but none of the baseball IQ. So I look for things like, taking good routes and, making accurate throws. Do they hit the cutoff man? That type of stuff. I want to see how they are with their teammates. Are they somebody who the big guys are associating with and laughing with and having a good time with? Or are they somebody who's kind of off by themselves? Get a feel for the type of personality that they have. For pitchers, I think that obviously the stats don't necessarily translate, but I look at stuff. I want to see what the velo is. A kid coming up, if he's throwing 97, 98, it's going to get my attention. And I want to see a mix of breaking pitches. Do they have command of the breaking ball? Are they pitching and not just throwing? That type of thing. Are they working inside for strikes? Are they, when they let go of the ball, are they falling off towards either first base for a righty or third base for a lefty? Or are they generating all of their momentum towards home plate? Those are the things, just from like a scout point of view, that I want to look at and get a feel for. Frankie, what are you looking for? Just the who looks the best in pants?
Yeah. I really, the fashion. That's really what I look for in terms of baseball. I want to see.
Yeah.
He struck him out.
All right, we got a fun little game planned. Not so much a game, more of just like a little activity here. I asked folks to call in or to tweet and tell us who they would cast as, the different Yankees throughout time in movies. And also, me and Pete submitted some of our own. So let's take a look at casting Yanks.
Hey.
All right.
Wow, my head is big in that box. I like it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Gotcha.
How you doing?
All right, so Harrison Bader. We got Eddie Redmayne. This was my pick. I think he looks just like him, personally.
I like it.
Same
So
kind
you went really serious with this. I did not.
On some of them. I figured we start off serious with the actual casting choices. This was a submission on Twitter for CC Sabathia.
Nice.
Forrest Whitaker. I think this one's about as good as it gets.
I like that one.
Yes.
Looks just like him.
Yes.
Let's see who's next. Oh yeah, Mark Teixeira. This was a submission too. This one was one other one that's fairly serious. Christian Weber Jr. Apparently he was on The Bachelorette. I don't know him, but I'd say it's a spitting image, and that one's from Rob. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, not bad. Big G.
Big G. This was from Max Momoa. I think this one was fantastic.
I think that's good. I like that one.
That's terrific, yes.
Since when did you get so smart?
Nice job, Max. All right, let's see what we got the next one. Okay, this is Garrett Cole. I think this is your submission, Pete. Kermit the Frog.
The voice acting job.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. And, they got the same smile, same kind of general way about them. This is another Pete submission. I see Pete took his homework seriously. This is Lurch.
That is correct.
Oh, man.
Oh, this is great.
That's doing DJ dirty right there.
I love DJ. He's my favorite.
Of course.
Oh, man. Another Pete submission. We got Aaron Boone. Yeah, I didn't see it until I put these side by side, but I get it. I get it. And for people who are listening, you just got to tune into the YouTube channel for this one.
Yeah, this is a terrible podcast.
This is
episode.
my submission. This is got Homer Simpson as Brian Cashman.
I love it.
Spitting image, honestly. And
on.
Cashman isn't as skinny as he used to be. He's kind of got that little Homer belly going these days. This one, this was my pick for Rojan.
I like it.
So
I like
Pete
it.
suggested Yosemite Sam, which I thought was good, but I already had this one done, so I just stuck
I said
with
the
it.
guns. You got a gun. That's why, man.
Oh, I see. I get it. Aaron Hicks, this was a user submission. We got drunk Tiger Woods.
Wow.
Drunk Tiger Woods as Aaron Hicks. Oh, man. You guys kill me.
Oh, my God.
Jorge Posada, this was a submission from Lowry. Lowry. Sid from Ice Age. Yikes.
How you gonna do Jorge like that?
Oh, God.
Man.
Yankee fans are cruel.
Guard.
This is me. So we got, I'm sorry, Brett Gardner. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
But this one's true. I'm sorry.
That thumb is more
great.
effective than Garter at the end.
Yes.
I love that.
Mark Teixeira, this was the winner. The greatest submission, Rachel Maddow. Absolutely perfection.
Rachel Maddow would have been healthier. She wouldn't have
That's
gotten hurt.
That's why I love Yankees fans. Gonna go
my
back.
God, that's amazing.
That is
Oh
incredible.
man.
I'll never see him the same again now.
All right,
That's
we got to talk
hilarious.
some baseball movies here. We got about 10 minutes left, and I just thought I would bring up. I wrote down as many baseball titles as I could think of, and I just thought we would go through and just kind of get your thoughts on baseball movies. This is the time of year that I watch a lot of the old baseball flicks. I can't watch them much during the season anymore. So spring training on a night like tonight, if I wasn't podcasting, I'd probably be watching The Sandlot or Major League, like that Friday nights during spring training. So let's talk about The Sandlot. Anybody here a Sandlot fan?
Yeah, not my favorite. I like it.
What about you, Pete or Frankie?
Solid movie. Good movie.
Solid?
James Earl Jones.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with that.
My favorite is Major League. I think that's the greatest baseball movie ever made. I don't like how they went like softer in number 2 and number 3. Like the first one was like, R-rated. It was funny. And then from there on out, it was just kind of like silly slapstick. And I just thought it was kind of, I don't know, it was lazy writing. Rene
I think the same
Russo-
thing happened to Caddyshack.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Rene Russo was low-key like stunning back then. 10. Perfect 10.
Yes.
Roger Dorn, one of the greatest casting choices ever, and the way he played that, like, what you want me to do, dive for it? Like, I just thought that was
Great movie.
Euchre ad-libbing stuff. All right, A League of Their Own. I love this one because my wife likes it. This is a good one to watch with the ladies, Tom Hanks as the manager, an all-time great character. Frankie, what were your thoughts on A League of Their Own?
I mean, that's like, when was that for Hanks? What year was that? 91, 92?
92.
So yeah, that was like peak Hanks. So, and yeah, just terrific. And, Madonna. Can't go wrong with that.
True. Also, one of the best insults, you can't even do this in a movie anymore, like where that one chick was just like really ugly, Marla or something, and it was like they were showing like these glamour shots of all the ladies, like oh, here's our beautiful center fielder, here's our beautiful catcher, and then they're like Marla from 2 miles away. What a hitter.
Yeah, would not be in a movie today.
Yeah, they don't let you do that no more. All right, what about Moneyball? Any Moneyball fans here?
Yeah, good movie.
That's an amazing movie.
Good movie.
My dad just saw that for the first time, and he told me how
Fat
amazing
Jonah
it
or
was with that
Skinny
movie.
Jonah?
Fat.
Agreed.
Yeah, fat.
Fat.
No one wants to see
100%.
Lance Armstrong do comedy.
Yeah, gotta be fat.
I don't want to see Lance Armstrong do anything.
Yeah, that's actually it's a Jonah Hill line that he made back when he was fat. Okay, Rashawn says my favorite movie is Groundhog Day. Let me move this up here.
Oh my
Groundhog's
gosh.
Day, where IKF is starting at shortstop for 162 games.
I wouldn't finish that movie. I would turn off after 5 minutes.
Thank you, Rashawn. Let's see what else we got here. The Babe. The Babe was kind of low-key dope. I like John Goodman in that role. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, yes. I don't know why I just drew a blank on John Goodman playing him, but yeah, that's an enjoyable one. It's underrated. I'd say it's underrated.
It was like what's the word? It was like it was true to life more so than a lot of biopics. Like I just watched the Elvis movie. Yeah. And like they made it seem like he had to go to war because like he was going to get arrested if they didn't, and it's like that's just stupid. Like why take artistic license? Right, seriously. I mean, The Babe is just such a unique story. They were able to stay kind of true to life to that one. Here we go. For Love of the Game, Kevin Costner.
Great
thoughts
movie.
on that one?
I like it, man. I like it. I'm a big Costner guy though, man. So I'm a little Costner bias here, but I like that movie. I thought Costner. It was good. I thought it was good.
I love Costner. The baseball stuff in that movie is great. The romance is awful.
I like Kelly Preston though. It's a shame she died. She was super hot.
I adore Kelly Preston. One of my childhood crushes. But the romance of that, they should not be together.
So here's one that I think is kind of an underrated baseball movie, and you never hear it brought up when people talk best baseball movies. Little Big League. It had like a bunch of real players in there. They filmed it during the strike in '94. Yep. And it had Ken Griffey Jr. It had
the big unit. The big unit.
Paul O'Neill was in that one.
Yep.
They used like the MLBPA like names because there was no baseball going on. To me, that's it. And just that whole story of like that was a very fan story, right? It was about like. It wasn't afraid to get nuanced into baseball where they talk about like why the kid would make managerial changes or managerial decisions and things like that. And they got just like kind of into the behind the scenes of a big league clubhouse, like better than I think a lot of movies do. Did you guys ever see that? There was a show. I think it was called The Franchise. Frankie, you looked this up for me at one point.
Yeah, I think it was called The Club.
The Club, yeah. It was like where they filmed like a behind the scenes of a franchise. I remember there was the White Sox one year. They need to bring that back. That would be dope.
I feel like I remember that. Wasn't that when the White Sox when they won the World Series, like the year after when Ozzie Guillen was there?
I think it was shortly after. I think it might have been like 2008. Okay. Like it was.
I feel like I do remember that.
Yeah. The GM.
There've been two shows.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There have been two shows that I remember. There was The Club on MLB Network, and then I remember I think Showtime had a show for a couple years that followed like the Giants and the Marlins when Ozzie was running them. So those are the only two shows I can think of that were like that.
The Scout, 1994, with Steve Nebraska. I thought Steve Nebraska's pitching motion was the most ridiculously ugly of any. Like you can't bother to learn how pitchers throw, and you're supposed to be throwing 110 miles an hour.
Wait, Freddie Prinze in Summer Catch?
We got Summer Catch here, too, but yes, he was also bad. I've got a story about Summer Catch. So that was filmed in Southport, North Carolina, which is like a few minutes from where I went to college. So me and my friends went down there. We got to meet like Jessica Biel and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
Ooh,
yeah,
a little Jessica Biel action. Okay.
Yeah, we tried to be extras. We were off on the backfield just playing catch all day. We got paid in pizzas. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Let's see here. What are some other ones? 8 Men Out. You guys ever seen 8 Men Out?
Yes.
1919. Let me get your opinion on this. Shoeless Joe Jackson. Should he be? Okay. I'll just start. I have a philosophy on being banned for life. Being banned for life, your ban should end when you die. Right? Yes. You can't get any of the attention. You can't get any of the monetary gain from being in the Hall of Fame or being in baseball. But a lifetime ban, in my opinion, should expire when you do. Thoughts on Joe Jackson?
It's so tough on these things. Like even with Pete Rose and Shula's Joe, it's hard because obviously as players they're Hall of Famers, but where do you draw the line? I think that's always the tough conversation to have, right? Is where is the line drawn where somebody's not allowed in? It's tough, and there's so much into that story too. Like he didn't understand what he was doing. What everybody, but he had a great series. So how could he have been involved? There's just so much into it. I don't know. I'm so on the fence about it. I'm always open to, for the player, you should be in the Hall of Fame for how good he was.
Yeah.
I know there's all the other stuff there, but as a player, I think you're in there for that.
Judge Landis is in the Hall of Fame. Shoeless Joe should be in.
It's fair point.
Enough.
All right, last one, and I'm gonna draw some. I'm going to draw some fire for this one because it's an unpopular opinion. I don't think Bull Durham's that great a movie.
Wow.
I don't really like, and I've played on the field. I actually hit one out of the old ballpark. I just don't think like any of the baseball mechanics are believable. And to me, that type of thing is important as a watcher. It's a visual medium. I think you should try and imitate real life as much as possible. I thought Tim Robbins. I thought his character Nuke LaLoosh was too wild to be considered serious. You know what I mean? Like nobody is that wild and taken seriously. There were some cool nuances like the meeting on the mound discussions and stuff, but I'm guessing you guys like Bull Durham.
Yeah.
Honestly, it wouldn't be on like my top 5 of baseball movies.
Right. What is your top 5?
Oof. Major Leagues are definitely up there. Major League 1 and 2 both are up there. 61 got to be up there. 61 to me is legendary.
Yes.
I got an odd one actually, and it's not a movie, so I know this isn't fair, but it's a TV show. It's an episode of The Twilight Zone actually. The Mighty Casey, which is phenomenal. It's a baseball episode. Basically, he's a cyborg, and it's like the worst team in the world. And he's a pitcher, and he just dominates everybody. And then of course, The Twilight Zone is always a little twist and what happens, but just an absolutely awesome episode. Really fun to see how they filmed these type of things so long ago, and how relevant it actually is, to as we get further and further away from when the episode aired, how relevant you could actually see it becoming. It's fairly interesting.
I tell people this all the time.
By the way, too, real quick, if Lou Brown was the Yankees manager, they'd win the World Series this year.
Yes.
I always tell people how much I love The Twilight Zone because the production value was so low that the writing had to be so good, right? Yep. I mean, you had to be super creative and you had to tell stories in a compelling way, and you had to have good actors convey like the emotion and the fear, had to have good music. I mean, they just don't make them. The new Twilight Zones are just awful. Frankie, what's your favorite baseball movie?
Well, one more thing before, if we're going to mention non-baseball movies now, I know this is a movie, but it's not a baseball movie. But The Naked Gun has the best baseball scene of any movie.
With the Frank Drebin.
Yes.
I Must Kill the Queen. Reggie Jackson.
Yes. Reggie Jackson, classic. Absolutely classic.
That's the best.
All right, what is your favorite baseball? If you had to bring one to a deserted island, one baseball movie.
It's got to be a Fever Pitch for me. No, I'm kidding.
God.
I was going to say, what the hell?
No, that's the worst. That's the worst. Shame on you, Hollywood, for making a romantic comedy about the 04 Red Sox, the worst moment of my life. It's got to be Major League for me. I agree with you guys. That's the funniest one for me and the most quotable. Yeah, it's Euchre's great, and it's great seeing young Charlie Sheen, young Dennis Haysbert, young Wesley Snipes. Just an awesome movie.
Guys, this is the music. This is the sound we play when it's time to wrap it up. Non-baseball movies. I saw Creed 3. Phenomenal. Anybody thinking about going to see it? See it.
What about Cocaine Bear?
Awful. Cocaine Bear. Awful. Terrible.
Most impressive.
All right, Pete, final word from you tonight.
Final word from me tonight is, folks, even though we could complain about some things for the Yankees, there's a lot of things to look forward to. Month of March is going to be very exciting. Seeing who gets sent home early is going to be exciting. Seeing who stays very, very late to the end is going to be exciting. In other terms, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Frankie, any final thoughts? Send off for you?
I had to realize we went this entire time talking baseball movies and didn't mention Field of Dreams. So I had to mention that before we got killed in the comments.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that. So I Field of Dreams, definitely one of my top baseball movies, and really it's a vehicle about relationships that uses baseball as like the MacGuffin to drive the story. The thing I love about Major League, and this will be my final thought, is that it wasn't afraid, and I love movies that aren't afraid to just put a little bit of magic out there and then not explain it, Imagine, today where they try and explain every plot hole with complicated writing, there would have to be some kind of like stupid Indian burial ground and a curse from a voodoo witch doctor. Yes. It was just like, no, it's magic. Sometimes magic happens and sometimes it's in the moonlight. Appreciate it, everybody. Guys, you don't have to stick around for the outro. I got my sale coming up. I will see you guys When I see ya, post-game recap tomorrow afternoon. Go Yanks.
Hey everybody, if you've made it this far, we thank you. If you'd like to support NYY Recaps, please like and subscribe or pay a visit to our Shopify store for some great Yankees merch.
Yes.
If you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the description. But if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, just visit NYYRecaps.shop. If you really want to support NYY Recaps and help keep the show going year after year, join up as a member.
Join us.
It's $5, and members get their names up in lights during each post-game show. We're also on all podcast platforms, Instagram, and Twitch this year. So give us a follow if you use any of those platforms. We're expanding, and we have you to thank for making this such a great community. We'll see you next time.
It is your destiny.
Case closed.
Ball game over.
Most impressive.